Schmitty from the chat. Sergeant Bill may be a silly question, but is the location of what he calls the dump site a part of his particular MO, or is MO only the means and type of person one murders? No, Schmitty, that is absolutely an MO because the MO, of course, stands for modus operandi. I told you guys before, the only two Latin words that I know, method of operation. And where he dumps the bodies is where he feels comfortable and where, according to the bail application document, he recons the area. It sounds like a soldier, right? Reconnaissance. He checks out the area. Are there any cameras? Are there a lot of people around? Where are the escape routes? Is there a lot of police around? What's the lighting like? And of course, video cameras. He doesn't want to go anywhere with his video cameras. So absolutely, he is checking all those things out. And Schmitty, absolutely, that is part of the modus operandi. Remember we spoke about modus operandi, signature, right? The signature, and we had said some of the things, modus operandi, signature, and staging. And we know now staging also has to do with the crime scene and how he places the body. Sometimes in sexual homicides, the perpetrator will purposely pose the body so as to shock the investigator who's going to find the body. Sometimes they'll pose it in a sexually explicit manner, again, to shock the investigators. And that's all part of this psychosexual sadistic killer who gets pleasure out of other people's pain. And that's one of the things that we must realize about Rex Heuermann. Shelley Start, what these ladies must have felt, the terror breaks my heart. How can a human do this to another? Yeah, that's a great question. HC teacher, yes, especially when he is in the system, it would be nice to close some cases if so. Yeah. Urban Infidel. I guess a hoarder will have lots of hair around since they don't clean their house often. Yeah. And that's how, people have asked during this whole case. Lula Morocco, thank you for the $10 super sticker. Exactly what Dr. Debbie Goodman discussed on your show last year, DNA and its powerful impact on this case. I think in the 21st century, one of the greatest advances in the criminal justice field is the advancement in DNA technology. And I was a 9/11 first responder, and there's still, I think Barbara Butcher said maybe, and I don't have the exact percentage, but perhaps as many as 40% of the body's parts they have remain unidentified. And every year since 9/11, they make another identification due to the advancements in DNA. You got to realize many of the bodies at the World Trade Center were pulverized, or as Dr. Hirsch, who was the New York City medical examiner around the time of 9/11, he actually said to the families of the victims that, I hate to say this, but many of the bodies were just reduced to basically gas, just pulverized to ash and just dissipated or disappeared within thin air. The families, of course, don't want to accept that. And Dr. Hirsch had given speeches worldwide on the response to 9/11, and especially the medical examiner response and the pathological, response to it, the identification of bodies and body parts. And apparently he was giving a lecture in front of about 5,000 or 10,000 doctors, and he got a standing ovation. How do I know that? He spoke at the homicide course, and he told us that. And I thought it was, I had little tears running down my face as he told us that. It was quite interesting. But Lou, to get back to your DNA is just, incredible. And the fact that this mitochondrial DNA is just even more incredible. And there's a few labs, I think, across the country that do this kind of work, and the FBI uses these labs to do these highly, highly technical DNA identifications. Othrem, OTHRAM, is one of these labs. I'm sure there's others, and I believe they're in Texas. And they have not only been doing amazing things with DNA, but amazing things with investigative genetic genealogy. Just absolutely incredible work. And now this is coming to bear, of course, in these cases. And, you know, these forensic experts are just, the science has caught up to the criminals. The criminals had it over us for a while. I think now we're going to have to score one on the part of these scientists that are identifying these bodies and body parts.
Now by Joseph Scott Morgan, certified death investigator and distinguished scholar of applied forensics at Jacksonville State University. Also one of the smarter people I know in the business of true crime, also with a great podcast. Joe Scott, when I saw that list, and then I saw, like, they don't name her, right? But
yeah,
Aza's lawyer told us that the witness number 3, whose hair also matched the victim's, was his ex-wife. Now, clearly, his ex-wife lived there before Aza lived there. And if her hair is on victims and Aza's hair is on victims, I think it's pretty unfair for people to assume that Aza had something to do with it.
Yeah, I'd say that that's an accurate response. You know, if there can be beauty in this, when you think about beauty of science here, when you look at these hair shafts, isn't it amazing, Ash, that these things have not degraded after all this time? Just think back how long this has been going. You know, our friend Gary mentioned just a moment ago how long he's allegedly been at this. We're talking decades here. And these hairs, you know, talk about the devil in the details, right? You know, going back decades that they're there, and that mitochondrial DNA could be teased out of these shafts so that they could do these profiles. And the profiles are quite striking when numerically, you know, when you begin, and we've talked about the math before, when you begin to go through this process of elimination, you know, just from a circumstantial standpoint, what are the odds?
Yeah.
What are the odds that this could have originated from some other place?
Do you know what else,
there?
though? I've got to be honest, Joe, that you think about the alleged start time of these murders, right? 1993,
Yeah.
30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about what we all knew in our fields, right? You especially.
Yeah.